Hello, this is Public Advocate, and I'm Shirley Graves. We have a very interesting show for you today. We're going to learn all about the Godmothers of Timothy Murphy School. Did I get that right? Because I'm going to learn all about it with you. And I'm sitting here with Daria Doherty, who is president of the Godmothers Group, and Donna Boyd, who is treasurer of the Godmothers Group, and we're going to get started with these two active workers there and find out just what we're going to learn here. Who would like to tell us about what the school is, where, and why?
Well, I'm going to start talking about the Godmothers a little bit. And they are a group of women, all volunteers, who actively support Timothy Murphy School. And that's how we came up with the name, the Godmothers of Timothy Murphy School. The Godmothers come in with all kinds of talents and expertise, and they really use their talents to help us in our fundraising efforts so that we can raise money for the boys, as well as doing many other things. It's endless, and we'll get into a lot of those.
Okay.
Now, Kathy McNeil, who was our founder, came across the property one day on a walk. And she noticed the school and was invited in by the principal. Kathy noticed there were so many things lacking in the school, and she wanted to know how she could help. So the first thing that she did is she got a few friends together, and they had the first classroom birthday party, which was just wonderful. The boys have come from broken homes. They don't know any of this. They don't have any parental support. So just to get to have a little party for them is wonderful. They also started doing birthday cards. So the boys would get a card in the mail, and this was a thrill in itself. So just such a small effort. And we still do the birthday cards today. So it's really a wonderful gesture. Kathy also noticed, well, they don't go on field trips. They don't have much social guidance. So the Godmothers, basically, that's what we do. And she started this all 22 years ago. And today, Kathy's the liaison between the school and the Godmothers. So it's just, it's a wonderful relationship we have.
So she only started this 20-some years
22 years ago, yes.
My, and the school has been there how long?
It was started in 1985, Timothy Murphy School.
Yes. And today we have about 250 members. 100 are very active, and then we also have 25 junior godmothers. They are mainly daughters of other godmothers. We needed to get ourselves up to date on technology and everything, and the juniors have helped us with this immensely. We have Allison Park here today, who will give you some of the insight in our technology and all that the juniors do. Also, as part of the Godmothers group, we have a very working board. Every single person on the board contributes in some way. Donna, for example, is our treasurer. She is an accountant by trade, so that's what Donna does. We have ladies who look after the uniforms and the clothing. I head up the pumpkin patch. So we're all doing something, and it's a great board, and I'm really proud to be part of it.
Now you say you have about 250 members in your
200, yeah, approximately 250.
They're
So
all
it-
active, or
Not all of them. We do have a group of them that are supportive,
okay.
but they do contribute by coming to our events, and yeah, it works out great. But the active ones are very active, and
Right.
And we've been able to use the experiences that many of them have in business, because, Daria, why don't you tell them about some of the things that the Godmothers have actually bought for the schools, the facilities
Oh
that
my-
our funding
Oh my
has been
gosh.
able to provide.
We have set up a library complete with all the books you can imagine. A computer lab with computers for all the boys. They can come in and they have a computer class there. One of our big endeavors was a playground, and adjacent to it, a lovely basketball court.
Oh my.
Let's see, we've bought vans. This transports the boys to various outings, and back and forth to their housing. We provide school lunches. We have a merit store. The merit store is just wonderful. The boys can accumulate points through good behavior. They come down to the store and they can purchase something that they really want.
With their points.
With their points, yes, and all accumulated on good behavior.
And what kind of things do you have in the store?
Oh, we have sporting basketballs, we have jerseys, electronics.
Just about anything that
Just
a
about
young
anything.
teenage boy would like, and they can order ahead of time. They can say, because they do make merit points, and they also, some of them also collect a few dollars for giving extra time to the staff, and they can come in and order and say, "Can I buy this out of the catalog?" We'll order it for them if they have the dollars or the points.
Yes.
Yes, so the store is wonderful. We do their uniforms and clothing. We have a nurse that comes in and checks their vision and hearing, and then the Godmothers provide 2 pairs of glasses a year for whatever boys need glasses, yes. We do dental. So the list is endless. Now, in order to fund all these things, we do fundraisers. Our first fundraiser of the year is the Pumpkin Patch, which takes place in October for most of the month. This year we ordered 39,000 pounds of pumpkins. And we know because we got the bill. The Pumpkin Patch is a lot of fun. The community looks forward to it every year. We have people who come up and say, "I used to come here when I was, younger," and they bring their children. So the Godmothers keep the tradition going every year. Next, after the Pumpkin Patch, we have the Holiday Appeal Card. And I have a sample here of it. And it's just a simple card we send out to possible donors, and it kind of pulls at their heartstrings.
Inspires them, yes.
Inspires them. And we've had very generous donors through the Holiday Appeal Card. So that's actually going on right now. After the Holiday Appeal Card, we do the Valentine's Ball. And Marcia will speak a little bit later about that.
Yes.
It's a big event and quite a lot of fun. In March, the Godmothers, headed by the juniors, do Run for Shoes. The Run for Shoes, the boys are actually working to raise money so they can get some nice shoes for themselves. And they have to run a 3-mile course around the grounds, and I think it's a good uplifting event, and they're part of it, and I think that's what makes it special. After Run for Shoes, we do bingo, and this year we will be heading out to the Marin Country Club to do that. Patty LePerriere will speak more about that a little later. And what else do we do, Donna? Anything else? Did I miss out?
Well, I will cover some things, and I think in order to do that, this is a good time to tell you the history of Timothy Murphy School, how it got started.
I had a question about who are the students
Oh, the
who
students.
come there,
Oh,
and
my
where
gosh.
do they live?
Well, the students are boys from all over the Bay Area, and they have emotional, behavioral, and academic challenges, which can't be met in a traditional school setting. So that's what Timothy Murphy School provides for them. They're wards of the state.
And they live on there at the school.
Most of the boys live at St. Vincent's, which is a separate housing, and they're group homes. They have someone, a person who looks after them there, who feeds them their food and does their laundry and supervises. We've had the number of boys fluctuates all the time. I think in past years we've had as many as 75 to 100, and sometimes there's less. So they're coming in and out all of the time. But they have special needs, so this is a very special school, and we hope to help them out.
Well, let me tell you how it got started. And there is a long history about St. Vincent's, which actually was started in 1850. This is a time when the building of the railroads and the gold rush left a lot of children without families. There was a man by the name of Timothy Murphy who was a large landowner in Marin County, and he knew about the problem, and when he died he left his land to the Archdiocese of San Francisco with the caveat that within 2 years they had to build an orphanage for these children. And at that time there were between 450 and 500 children who found a home here. It was a totally self-sufficient environment. They made all their own clothes, they raised all their own food. But as we know, things change over time, and that population would decrease, and some of the needs would decrease. And there were vicissitudes that the whole property met over time. They had a very bad fire before the end of the 19th century. A lot of the buildings that are there now were actually rebuilt in the 1920s. Some of them were vacant for a while, but they still housed boys who came from broken homes. Most of those boys didn't seem to have psychological or academic problems, and they were matriculated into the normal schools, but they lived on campus in great group homes. In the early 1980s, that population changed a lot. There were more children that were found living on the streets. They had traumatic situations where they were abused at home, and the school district came in and thought that these boys needed a little bit more attention than they were getting, more specific special education. So they mandated, actually the school district started Timothy Murphy School separately in the 80s, and they had to kind of pull back at which time the state stepped in, because these boys were not getting any financial assistance either, and the state had to find a way to fund them. So they started the school called Timothy Murphy School, just particularly for that problem, to staff it with special education teachers who could deal with these boys' problems. So Timothy Murphy now has been in existence since 1985, and it has begun, and it did at that time begin to deal with these boys' problems. Now, it's not a school that people can come and register for on their own. They have to have what is called an IOP. It's an independent educational profile. And if the children are discovered to have specific needs that Timothy Murphy can provide, then they can be matriculated into the school. They live in the group homes with the boys, unless some of them have already been found some foster homes. So some come from foster homes to the school. You've heard some of the things that the Godmothers do, but there are actually daily programs that we do. One of them that is very close to my heart is called Life Skills. And we do this for both the lower schools and the high schools. The lower school children are given an opportunity to learn daily things they would learn if they had a family situation. They learn how to cook. They learn how to take care of their own personal items. They get little classes in science, and they learn how to make gift items. They get a lot of hands-on experience with the Godmothers. The high school boys are taken out on field trips, and it's sort of a three-pronged purpose. One is to give them an experience that they would have if they had a regular family who would take them on outings. A second purpose is so that they can learn how to conduct themselves in the social environment. They're taken out to businesses, and afterwards they're taken to a restaurant and they learn social graces. And then thirdly, they learn how to communicate. We've taken them to endless number of places. We've had them out on a Coast Guard boat on the bay. They've gone to fire departments. They've gone to Macy's, to Apple Store, to Starbucks, to any place where they can find that they might get a part-time job. And one of the things that we're very proud about is that many of the boys who have gotten part-time jobs, either after school, during the summer, or at the time when they're 18 and they are no longer allowed to stay in this system, the funding stops at that point. All of those boys that have gotten jobs have gotten them because the Godmothers have introduced them to them. So we're very, very proud of that. And we know that all the boys don't necessarily make that leap into success, but our purpose is to find that opportunity for every one of them. So besides the life skills program, we have a music program now that is just growing, and we're finding that there's talent that the boys have an opportunity to express that they never knew they had. We have a piano teacher and a choir who is also a choir director. The boys can learn piano, clarinet, drums, you name it. If they have a talent for it, we'll find an opportunity for them to learn it. The choir is something that's quite exciting. It's growing. Every time we open up a new school year, we have some new boys who come forward, and now they will go and bring their program to the nursing homes locally.
So for the holiday season,
yes,
it's really, really wonderful.
We'll visit the retirement homes, and the older folks just love to have them there, and they respond. It's a beautiful experience. We've had a special reading program for some of the boys, and we hope to start that up again. We have a grooming program for them so that they learn how to take care of their own personal needs. These boys have not had any exposure to anything in their lives.
No family.
So
yes.
we love to find new opportunities for that kind of growth.
Oh, that's
And all of this is funded by our fundraising.
So much you can
elements.
do for them that they're not getting because they don't live amidst a family.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful thing
And
that you're doing for them.
Sometimes just giving them a little extra attention is all they need.
Absolutely.
Really, absolutely.
We know that they have personal problems. Some of them have been out on the street. Some of them have gotten into trouble with the law. Many of them have been abused. Most of them don't have family connections. But when the Godmothers interact with them, we find that they're very responsive and very loving. They know how to say thank you. They know how to come in and give you a smile for the day. And it makes all of our work very satisfying.
All right. Oh,
So maybe you'd like to have the ladies come and tell about
yes.
some of the fundraising programs.
Yes. Next, I think we'll bring in Patty LaPerriere, who will talk about bingo. And
I like bingo.
Yeah, me too.
It's a
Word
nice
cards.
program.
Yeah. And Marcia Lloyd, who will speak about the Valentine's Ball.
Oh. Well, I'm sitting here with two more Godmothers, and on my right side here is Marcia Lloyd, the event liaison, and her big responsibility is the Valentine Ball.
Right.
Wow. And on my left side here is Patty LaPierre, who is the event chairperson, and she is responsible for bingo luncheon.
I am.
Okay, bingo. Who would like to get started with what their role is here?
Well, I would love to talk about the Marin Valentine's Ball, which is a very unique fundraiser. It was started 22 years ago. This will be our 22nd annual Marin Valentine's Ball at the Civic Center. It's quite a gala affair. It's black tie optional. formal sit-down dinner, live auction, silent auction, beautiful bars, just an elegant evening. We raise a lot of money. But here is what I think is so special about it. It was started by the late Supervisor Hal Brown 22 years ago because he wanted to do things for children at risk. And so this is the only fundraiser that I know of that involves 3 different agencies that we work together in Marin County. So it's the Godmothers of Timothy Murphy School, North Bay Children's Center, and Sunny Hill Services. And we're all Marin based, and we all serve children with different needs. We have a theme every year. This year it's called Love Will Keep Us Together. And we all work together, the 3 agencies, which I think is amazing. Not competitive. We're to bring this ball together, and we raise a lot of money and divide it equally between all 3 agencies. It is so much fun. It's now run by Mike Brown and Chris Brown. In honor of their father, they've carried on his vision. We have a wonderful foundation board that grows and changes. We have some of the county supervisors involved. So a big way to raise money. It's February 10th, 2018. It's always the Saturday before Valentine's. Big tradition. And we turn the Civic Center, which is just a big auditorium, into an incredible, beautiful event. About 450 people attend. It's a formal sit-down dinner, live auction, speakers, silent auction, cocktails, top shelf. And then our tradition is dancing to the Wonder Bread 5, who are so much fun, and they just bring the whole group together. So you can get all dressed up and come, or you can just be comfortable and come. Women can come alone, or it can be a wonderful date night. And the way you purchase tickets is we will be sending out invitations, but if you're not on our invitation list, certainly on our website, godmothers.org, pardon me, and also the marinvalentinesball.org. So it's so much fun, and everybody's welcome. And this is where we do raise a lot of funds for these boys.
And what is your website again? There was some
Godmothers.org.
Godmothers.org.
Godmothers.org. And for the Valentine's Ball, because it includes the 3 agencies, it's called marinvalentines.org. Ball.org, pardon me.
Valentinesball.org.
Yeah.
Okay. Or godmothers.org.
Or godmothers.org.
Okay.
Correct.
Ready?
Fun.
So our annual spring fundraiser is our bingo luncheon. Every year we host about 300 guests for shopping, entertainment, lunch, and of course bingo, naturally. We have 20 to 25 independent vendors who we invite. They bring us, they sell clothing, handmade and unique jewelry items, eyeglasses, and countless styles of handbags. And their generosity gives us 30% of their sales that they donate to the boys.
That's sold while you're having the bingo games.
Yes, indeed. We've been fortunate for the last 20 years to participate with Ristorante La Toscana. The owners of La Toscana, Marilyn Morey and her daughter Laura Riella, are godmothers themselves. And they come and they donate their time and their expertise as well as their kitchen staff to help us put on this event every year, which is usually delicious. The highlight of our event is a performance by the Timothy Murphy's Boys Chorus.
Oh, of course, sure.
They are, as Donna mentioned, they are under the direction of our music instructor, Eric Maddox, and they work all year to perform for this event. They do a wonderful job. They practice very diligently, and they are very much appreciated by the people who come to us. We are very proud. They walk around like they've really accomplished something wonderful, which of course they have. And then we have a special lunch for them on the day of the event.
Oh,
Yeah, we try to make it special for them. We also have recently initiated a Fund a Need. This event has been happening for about the last 3 years, and based on the generosity of our guests, we have been able to fund, well, I shouldn't say fund, we have been able to provide funds for the library, for our computer lab, and for our music program.
all at the school.
All at the school.
Wow.
Yes. So each year we try to find another portion of our program that the boys can benefit from, and those contributing will know that this particular donation you are making will help fund the music program. This year, as Daria mentioned, we are no longer holding the event at the school, which we have for many years. We are moving to the Marin Country Club,
Oh,
and we are having the event this year on May the 9th. It is an all-afternoon event, and we're hoping that people watching might be able to consider joining us. Again, as Marcia mentioned, you may sign up for this event at the Godmothers website, or you may call the school and request an invitation, and we would be happy to send one to you.
you represent a group that has done so very much for some children that didn't have much done for them before. It's very, very interesting hearing about all this.
It's so amazing when you walk into the school and you just see the boys and you cry. I cry. My heart just swells with pride to see these. I have 3 children of my own, and you want them to have a nice, warm family. And so we're doing the best that we can to give them that and make them feel loved and wanted and cared for, and give them social graces and manners and things that they never ever would have learned to get by in the world. So very proud.
And
I'm very proud to be a godmother.
Well, and that's so important too. You can't just stop around and grab things. You've got to say
Right.
please and thank you.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's quite a team that does this. Quite a team.
How large is your group? Not 200.
The volunteers of the Godmothers are around 250, and they're all volunteers. That some help in the classrooms. There's a working board of 12 members. There's different people that do projects like myself. I'm assigned to the Valentine Ball, and we all do a little bit of everything to help bring in funds. We need the funds so these boys can have underwear and socks and clothes and feel self-confidence and significance and self-worth.
So as far as like members of an auxiliary or something like that,
Yes.
this is the auxiliary.
This is the
that
auxiliary.
runs it. Okay.
That's right.
And they can call. They can go on the website to talk with you.
Exactly.
Or get the phone number or. of the
We
school.
welcome everybody, and of course our junior godmothers, which Allison is in charge of, and she'll be speaking about that. We'll be able to tell you all about that.
Okay. Well, this goodness, it's just so wonderful to hear with these children who would not have had the right right upbringing, so to speak, without some feminine intersection here.
Well, we'd
There's
like
some
to-
males too.
I don't know. I raised a boy with my 3 girls, and we had to work a little harder on him.
So, well, thank you for
Well, thank you.
having us and letting us tell you a little bit about what we do.
Thank you. We're going to have a couple more people from your committee, from your school workers. Well, here's the next part of the show. I'm sitting here with Allison Park, who is with Godmothers and Technology. She's part of the junior members. I call you that. And over there we have Donna Boyd, who's spoke to us before, and she is going to discuss with how they interact with the boys. And I have here on my left Dr. Ash Bowie, who is the clinical director of the school, and he's going to tell us about his work there. So who wants to start here? Should I just point at somebody? Or
I'm happy to
Let's start
start.
with
All
Allison.
right, Allison Park,
So-
junior godmother.
Yes, so I'm a junior godmother, and what the junior godmothers are is basically a group of women who are just like regular godmothers, except we're under the age of 45, hence the name Junior Godmothers. And we are currently about 25 members strong. The Junior Godmothers came about through the Godmothers organization about 4 years ago. And as Daria mentioned earlier, the Junior Godmothers was really formed through word of mouth to daughters and daughters-in-law and friends of godmothers who wanted to give back to our community and wanted to get involved with the Godmothers organization on a slightly smaller level, given that most of the ladies that are junior godmothers are full-time mothers, working mothers, kind of in that stage of our lives where we're a little busy and don't have as many hours to give during the day. The junior godmothers, we do our own separate events, and we also do events with the godmothers. So over the last couple of years, the junior godmothers have started a new fundraiser called Run for Shoes, which we spoke about earlier. And what Run for Shoes is a day at the school in the spring where the boys run 3 miles around the St. Vincent's campus. And it's concluded with a lunch and cookies and gifts that are donated by the junior godmothers. And we do fundraising by reaching out to potential donors to help sponsor a boy to run. And so that's been a wonderful fundraiser that the juniors have spearheaded, and we look forward to it every year.
Very
The
interesting.
junior godmothers also host our own meetings where we hire babysitters so that all of our juniors can bring their children in the evenings and have a meeting together, and the babysitters play with our kids outside. And it's just a really great way to connect with other ladies in our community that want to give back to the boys, and we come up with other ideas that we can support the godmothers in. And as a junior godmother myself, one of the areas of expertise that we've been asked to advise on is the increasing role of technology in both our organization and also at the school with the boys. So my role on the board is specifically around technology. I oversee things within the Godmothers organization, like our website, increasing our social media footprint as that becomes an increasing part of daily life and for people to understand who we are. We are looking forward to eventually, over the next couple of years, breaking out into online fundraising, that whole world. But this is all new for us, and so that's one of the things that I'm focusing on now. I also oversee technology at the Godmothers level for the school. So years ago, the Godmothers helped to provide a computer lab at the school with state-of-the-art Apple computers and projectors and smart boards in the classrooms. And so we are working to understand how we can help provide guidance to the boys on training them within technology, as it's become such a huge part of daily life for everybody. So
Yeah, that was my question, is somebody teaching them how to use a computer and things like that?
So the Godmothers are proud to have a computer lab where the boys have
Learning.
time to come into the computer lab, have experience with their own account information on the computer in a safe environment where it's being chaperoned within the classroom. and they learn things like how to navigate the internet, how to learn word processing, simple word processing, so that they're able to create a resume for when they have to go and find a job, and just how to begin to learn the language that is computers and tablets and the internet, to help provide them for their life after Timothy Murphy School.
Oh my. Yeah, that's important that they know how to handle computers.
It is.
Everybody else does. Everybody but me does, you understand?
Well, it's changing every day and every year, and there are just so many needs that we see, wanting to bring the boys up to speed and provide them with state-of-the-art training equipment and have that ready for them. So it's an ongoing uphill mountain that we're climbing, but it's really important, and we're really proud of that.
Do they have their own little computers or anything like that?
They do not have their own computers. They are only allowed to utilize the computers that are in the computer lab. But someday they will, as technology spreads into the individual classrooms, there may be a future in that. But right now, they come to the computer lab, which is a safe and secure place for them to learn how to use those.
Right. Well, they're certainly getting a good education, and good knowledge of the world, from what I'm hearing here. Who would like to?
I'd like to just add to that a little
Yeah, I was
bit,
gonna say
because
we'll hear from more
some of
from her,
the
too.
field trips that we've taken the boys on have shown what possibilities there are. They come with an empty bag, so to speak, when they come to school. We don't know what opportunities they're going to be facing, or what kind of talents they have. So we try to expose them to those. We took some of the boys to the Apple store, and it was thrilling to watch them, because they were taught how to do some very simple coding. And the fact that they were given that opportunity, each one was given an iPad, they were shown how to do this, and within 5 to 10 minutes they were all doing their own little adjustments to the coding. And then the next step was that they were asked to stand up and actually put this into operation. And they had to move objects by manipulation on their iPad, and they learned how to cooperate. They were setting up obstacles for each other, and cheering their partners on. Sometimes when they're at school, there's friction and there's competition, but in that environment, they all found, I have a talent to do this, I can do this, and they wanted to share it with their partners. Another situation that has been very exciting, we've taken the boys to a recording studio. Narda Michael Walden is a world famous recording engineer. He has recorded people like Mariah Carey, Elton John, and all kinds of names that you can think of. And he's very open-hearted and very gracious. He's invited the boys to come in, put earphones on, to get in front of the mic, to take an instrument into the sound equipment room, learn how to make alterations in the sound. And he finds that little special thing that each one seems to be able to develop, and he encourages them. Well, we've taken them down to that studio twice now, and they've come back to us, offered us a grant for more instruments in the music room, come in and helped us repair things. They're now planning the space so that it can be more valuable to the entire school, and just an encouragement for each student on his own level, what possibilities he has to develop talent. And there's a cooperation that's going on that's very, very exciting.
Oh my.
So we get financial support, but we also get this emotional support from the community. It's very, very rewarding to us.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Dr. Bowie.
Hi, thank you for hosting us, Shirley.
Dr. Ash Bowie, the clinical director.
Timothy Murphy School is a special education school. What this means is all of our students are involved in the special education system. We are not a public school, but we're not quite a private school either, mostly because the education of the students are funded through public dollars. However, if we depended only on the special education funds that came through the state, we wouldn't be able to offer even half of what Timothy Murphy School is able to offer these children. The computer lab, the music program, the school store, taking them on outings, we wouldn't be able to do any of these things, much less provide the health care or the clothing. All of these things come through the efforts of the Godmothers. And they are what make our school not just an educational environment, but a healing environment for
That's
kids.
just life. But all the factors that you just read, just spoke of, that's life. Clothing, medical, everything. Yes.
That's right. These children, we're a boys-only school. The vast majority of them have come from early childhoods, usually involving very serious abuse, very serious neglect. In many cases, they've been removed from the home. In some cases, they've come to live at St. Vincent's. But we also have a day program, so about 25% of our students are part of the day program. They don't live at St. Vincent's. They live either in a foster home or in their own parents' home. And for one reason or another, the school districts have decided that they need to be in a non-public school setting, meaning that their needs are greater than what a public school can handle. Now, Timothy Murphy School is focused primarily on children who have what's called an emotional disturbance designation. So it's been decided that they have psychological issues, mood disorders, and so forth that are explaining why they're not able to access their education. So our entire school is set up to help these kids access their education by helping them to regulate their emotions, to develop self-esteem, to work through a lot of these sort of deep feelings of shame that they develop through these abusive experiences that they've had. Because we're not talking about a single traumatic experience like a car wreck or a theft. We're talking about years of chronic abuse. So by the time they come to our school, they have years of experience of themselves as being failures in school.
They're probably not very communicative when they arrive.
Not appropriately so.
Oh.
They often have a great deal to say,
Okay.
but not very appropriate for a school setting. So part of what we do is help them learn how to communicate, how to get along with not just adults, but with other peers, how to develop friendships. Because they've been exposed quite often to a great deal of violence, they come to us with an understanding of solving problems through violence. So we have to help them learn how to solve problems in a pro-social way. This doesn't happen in a week. This doesn't happen in a month. Sometimes it doesn't happen in a year. This is a long-term project, these kids. And a big part of why Timothy Murphy School is able to help them as much as we do is to a very large degree because of the programs that the Godmothers are able to provide.
Well, you can imagine that when you hear everything that your group does. I mean, it's just wonderful.
I think that's why we're so fortunate to have the base of members, because when they hear about the program and what their few dollars and time can contribute, you know, what the results are their support. It's very inspiring.
We see a difference. It's very hard to see a difference in a week or even a month.
Yeah.
But we have students that have been there for 6 months, sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years, and you can see major changes in their sense of self, in their ability to develop friendships, in their ability to access their education, which is our primary mission, being a school, of course. And we're expanding right now. We're in a really good position right now, in part because of the funding coming from the Godmothers. So we're growing our student base right now. We're accepting more referrals. In fact, we've just hired another teacher, and we're on the lookout for a technology teacher specifically. So we want a teacher, an instructor, to come in specifically, not just to teach in the computer lab, but to help us develop a digital classroom. We want to take Timothy Murphy into the 21st century.
Wow. That's just wonderful. Of course, that's what they need, and you seem to be trying to provide everything that they need. It's just very impressive.
Well, one of the things that we're very proud of is the mental health department that we've been developing. This is actually not very common in non-public schools. All non-public schools offer some sort of counseling, but we have a fully fledged clinical department headed by myself, and we have a training program. So we have 4 clinicians now that are available to provide not just therapy, but also guidance in the classroom to help develop individual behavioral programs for each of these kids, because they all come in with their own unique issues and challenges. Mm-hmm. So you can't have a one-size-fits-all approach in the classroom. Every student has to be understood as an individual. So we're able to help the instructors and all the staff to be able to understand what's going on with any individual student and the best ways to help them succeed. Yeah, so that's a service that we're very happy to be able to provide, and the Godmothers have actually started to help us build up our department by buying materials that we can use in our
The
in our
special
therapy.
education department. And the notation I hear that how laws affect the education in these schools. You have 7 different laws that you have to deal with in a school like this?
Well, yeah, the special education laws are well, there are federal laws that the primary law is IDEA, which designates the federal level of special education, and then of course California has its own set of laws that are intended to help address all children who have disabilities. An emotional disturbance is considered a legal disability. So a child who is unable to regulate their emotions, to stay focused on their work to such a degree that they can't access their education, that's considered a disability.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds like it, yes.
Yeah. So there's a great deal of obligation on us to help them. It's not just out of the kindness of our hearts, although we have very big hearts for these guys, but they deserve to have a great education. They're owed a good education. So we have to work with the abuse and the neglect. In some cases, students come to us with brain damage due to, in utero exposure to alcohol or drugs, a wide range of issues that we're working with, and it's our mission to help every single one of them get the best education possible.
How are they sent to your school? Does the grade school they're in suggest it, or?
Usually what happens, again, every student is unique, but there's usually a pathway where they go through increasing levels of service. So it may start with a one-on-one, or they may go into what's called a special day class within a public school system. Mm-hmm. And as it becomes obvious to their IEP team that the services are inadequate, or if their situation is extreme enough that they realize no public school can manage their education, that's when the IEP team, usually a superintendent or a director of special education services, will contact us with a referral. And if we have a chair open and we believe they're a good fit, we'll invite them to have an IEP meeting, and we'll all decide if Timothy Murphy School is a good placement for them.
And are most of your students, they live there? You do have students that come from the community too, though?
About 75% of our students live at St. Vincent's. This can be a confusing point. There's some misunderstanding that Timothy Murphy School and St. Vincent's is a single institution, and that's not the case. They're actually separate institutions. They've always been separate institutions with their own separate boards. But we have a very strong relationship with St. Vincent's.
I'm glad you're talking about that. Yes, that's something that comes up. Yeah.
Yes, originally, as Donna mentioned, it was created by the Marin School District.
Right.
That lasted for about 2 years, and then
In the early 80s.
in the early 80s, 85, and then in 88, it restarted with its own board, so it became a private institution as opposed to a public institution. And at that point, the main idea was to serve the St. Vincent's student population entirely. Now, the reason that it could do that at that time was special education was better funded back then, let's be frank. And so more of the students were offered this special education opportunity to be able to attend Timothy Murphy School. So the school actually became quite large. We were upwards of about 80 students on average for about a couple of decades. As the funding for special education dwindled year after year after year, fewer and fewer of the St. Vincent's kids were able to be offered a placement at Timothy Murphy School. It just became too expensive. So more solutions came up from the district and the local SELPA to place the kids in public schools in different kinds of special day classes with as many services as they need. So our numbers began to drop from St. Vincent's. So we began bringing in students from outside of St. Vincent's, and that's our day program. And right now that compromises about 25% of our student body. And we are currently welcoming referrals from the community.
Now, do you have a fundraising effort, or do you?
Well, that is really what
That's
the
what the Godmothers do.
I think the reality is that we have to face is that there are so many children in need that it's almost a growing number, if I'm not wrong about that. They get themselves into trouble with the authorities. They're on the street. They don't have any guidance. They're influenced by drugs. They're badly treated by family, and the need is continuing to grow. So the need to find funding, of course, continues to grow. And Godmothers are always looking for another opportunity. I mean, how many volunteer hours can you give? I don't know. It's endless what's needed, but how much can you pull from the community? So we're always looking for something, and there's many ways that we would love to have people think about donating, not just their time and their talents, but we have a lot of vehicles for people in order to help us in a financial way. I just want to say this, that there are many things put in place to protect all of the money that comes into the Godmothers. We have a financial committee that meets 3 to 4 times a year to discuss a budget. Then we meet with the administration of the school, and we deal with the needs that they have and how we can adjust our budget to help them. Obviously, we would love to do a whole lot more. There's just so many dollars. So what we look for is for community support. Allison, maybe you can tell us some of the things that people can look on our website. There are half a dozen ways that people can contribute. And remember that every dollar goes strictly to the boys' use. Because the state funds the teachers' salaries. That's covered by the state. It's all these special programs that we try to do to provide experiences for the boys that are funded by the Godmothers. And the Godmothers essentially get their money from our community support. So maybe Allison can tell the people listening where they can look on the website and what they can look for.
Well, as Donna said, we are always in need of community support, whether that's financial or your volunteer hours. For ladies in Marin that are interested in joining the Godmothers, you can go to our website at www.godmothers.org. We have a special section on our website that says join us. You can print out a membership form and send it in, and we would be happy to welcome you into the organization and tell you about all of our events and our meetings and different ways that you can volunteer. We gratefully accept financial donations and monetary donations, either by sending them to the Godmothers at St. Vincent's at Timothy Murphy School, and also through our website we have area to donate via PayPal or credit card or check. We also utilize Amazon Smile online. If you go to smile.amazon.com and search for Timothy Murphy School and make a purchase through Amazon, Amazon contributes some cash back to us. Also through Giving Assistant, which is another online shopping site. If you enter Timothy Murphy School, some cash back comes back to us. So small, medium, large, there's many different ways that we would gratefully accept your donations.
Oh, well, that's very informative.
And you can find out all about the school specifically at our website,
Right.
timothymurphyschool.org.
Well, I'm so happy to have had all of the information that all of your people have shared, and we've come to the end of our program, and we hope that your
I
good
think
work.
I will put one little picture on there if we can do that later, because a lot of people will see this building from Highway 101.
Uh-huh.
And if they see that, they know that that is where Timothy
They
Murphy
know
School
that
resides.
that's where it is.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're tucked in the back.
Right.
Tucked in the back. No, it's been wonderful hearing all of the good work that you do. And I hope that the good work continues. And thank you very much for being here. And for Public Advocate, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
Sharon.
us.